Hello, everyone. We're looking at the final round game of the Gibraltar Chess Festival between Michael Adams with the white pieces, British Grandmaster, and with the black pieces right above me is Neils Grandelius. And of course, as usual, I have my crew here, my enforcers down below to my right, making sure everything is good on the channel. And right there is my random chess player um, of the day. If you know who she is, let us know in the comment section below. All right, let's get right into the game. So Mickey Adams, classical player, reminds me of Bobby Fischer. E4, C5 from Grandelius, Knight of 3, D6. What kind of Sicilian are we going to have? Bam, 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 bam. Not your exciting dragon. No dragons today. But we do have a Moscow variation of the Sicilian, which can be quite tricky here. Bishop D7. There's different responses that can be played. Have my little notes here. Knight C6 is possible, and for instance, you could have castle, Bishop D7 with this idea of C3 followed by D4, Knight F6, Rook E1, and then A6, whereby Black keeps the bishop here. But although Black keeps the bishop here and has a threat against his pawn, powerful move D4, Bishop takes E4, Bishop G5, so White sacks a pawn for the initiative. This is all well-known stuff. Bishop D5, Knight BD2, and E6. C4, Bishop takes F3, Queen takes F3, and C takes D4. Queen takes B7, and Queen C8 actually occurred in the game. Timoshenko, Viktor Kupreichek, great attacking player. All right, so there's a lot of traps in this variation that one could fall into. So Bishop D7 is played. Also, if Knight D7, again D4, this kind of plays into what White is trying to do here. Knight C3, and then now the Queen can come out to this square since the Knight is committed itself to D7 there. Grandelius opted for Bishop D7. Bishops come off, and simple play by Michael Adams here. Notice the placement of this knight again. Rook E1, E6, now D4. The knight comes in the center of the board. And now this is one of the options here for White is he elects for this Maroczy bind variation. Many times also in the Moscow variation, you'll see the queen on D4 also. Now, Black has to be very careful to obtain counterplay here. He is in a hedgehog type formation where he's crouched behind these first three ranks. White has more space, and what White is doing by putting these pawns on C4 and D4, he is doing his best to ensure that the move D5 cannot be played without major concessions or loss from Black. Black, for his part, has to try to engineer this break D5, or he can try to engineer a break B5, or in some circumstances even the break F5. Okay, so the same themes apply as in the accelerated dragon for Black. But one question that we can ask ourselves is White, is Black better with his bishop here on E7 or there on G7? Castles were played, B3 and Rook E1, Rook to E8, Bishop B2, Knight c5, knight c3 was played. D5. Now this move, D5, was a big mistake. Again, I told you a minute ago that D5 is a normal move that that black wants to get. But here, black was a little bit too thirsty in making this move, and probably should have just made a waiting move, maybe queen b6, or even a move like a6, with the idea of trying to engineer the break b5 at some later point in the game. Let's see what happens. After d5, Michael Adams goes into beast mode and refutes the entire idea. So here it is. Here's d5 by Grandelius. Michael Adams takes up the challenge. E takes d5. E takes d5. And now this nice in-between move. This is based on the idea that this is it's kind of like a temporary pin here because this bishop will lack protection. If, in other words, if you were to move this queen out of the equation, you can see the move knight takes e7 would be threatened here. So the bishop drops back. Now rook takes and queen takes, and now Grandelius just loses a pawn. Knight takes, and then beautiful in-between move here by Adams. Instead of just recapturing, he plays this check here. This piece cannot be taken because of queen g4, leading to checkmate on the dark diagonal. So the king has to go over, and now he captures with the threat here with this fork. Grandelius tries to exchange queens, but after the simple knight f7 check, black is totally busted here. And of course, Michael Adams simplifies immediately. Bishop comes to c3, just guarding the entry point here, so this rook cannot penetrate and create any counterplay whatsoever. King comes to the center of the board, and Michael Adams is just in time to keep this rook from being any bother down on the second rank here. And of course, Grandelius can resign here, but he's playing it out. Fork forces the exchange of pieces, and now you're just in a simple rook ending here. And after a few more moves, Grandelius was forced to resign. A real straightforward and logical game by Michael Adams. That's why I say he reminds me of Fischer, because of the simplicity of his games, and that's truly the sign of a great chess master. So that was it. Grandelius had enough at this point, down 2 pawns, and just beware of that early break, d5 against the Marazzi Bond. That is definitely a move you want to make, but you have to prepare it correctly, or it can backfire on you, as it did in this game. So as usual, please like and subscribe, comment. If you know who this chess player is right here, let us know down in the comment section. There'll be some links to some books and DVDs below, and enjoy them also. And I will see you on the next video.